Alright, back here with part 2 of my top 5 Rescue Ranger episodes. We're in the top 4 now. Number 4, Dirty Rotten Diapers. That's right, Dirty Rotten Diapers. I mean, what can you not say about this episode that has not been said? I mean, people just love this episode because it's kind of like, it shows Gadget's got like two sides to her. A side that's basically like, you know, maybe we need to take a break from the violence. Maybe we need to find an easier way, find a kinder, a safer way. It's basically like that motherly instinct coming out of her, if you will. That motherly instinct, even though she's not like a mother, but it's more like that motherly instinct. I love how that comes out of her. But then I also love at the end, or towards the end of the episode, where it's like, after basically having the biggest test of this new, safer and kinder method fail and blow up in her face, I love how, you know, she just says, you know what? Enough's enough. I've had it. You know, let's throw this whole new method of mine out the window. It's time to kick some ass. I love that. I love how they do that. The only problem I have with this episode is the fact that they cut out once in the broadcast, like on Toon Disney and later broadcasts in syndication, they cut out this one line where she says, "Let's shake that baby till he rebels." In the DVD version, they keep the scene, but they have the dialogue changed around. Like they had Trish McNeil basically come in and redo the dialogue and said, "Let's shake that rook till he rebels," or something like that. But you can tell that they had to come in and redo the line because the voice sounds a little deeper at times. But it's a very, very fun episode. I love it. It'll make you laugh from almost beginning to end. It'll really make you, you know, bust a gut in some scenes. And it's also the only episode. I'll say this: it's the only episode where Gadget actually kisses Chip on the cheek without wearing no disguise and anything. It's the first time she's ever done that. It's the first episode. And if you're a pro GNC fan, that kind of teased that as well. But again, that was, like I said, that's the only time she's ever done it. But a very fun episode, very comedic, very well timed in the comedic spots, and definitely worth the watch. Definitely worth the watch. Check it out. I highly, highly recommend it. Alright, number 3. My number 3 episode is A Fly in the Ointment. Now this is very good. This is actually a pretty good episode because basically it's one of those episodes focused on Zipper and how Zipper feels he can't. And basically Zipper wants to contribute more. You know, even though he looks small and everything, he wants to say, hey, look, just because I'm small, my size shouldn't matter. I can contribute. And of course, it's an episode that's the episode's villain is Norton Nimno, so you can kind of guess what goes from there. But if not, what happens is Nimno creates this new kind of transporting device transporting helmet, which all he has to do is put like a phone, one of those old well, not like today's phone, but a cordless phone. All he has to do is like take a phone like this, well back then a cord phone, you know, one of the original phones, with a cord, put it on top of the helmet, dial the number, and get out of there. Nowadays, if you used to use a cell phone or a phone like that, he'd have to basically dial the number and then put it on. But yeah, what happened basically is by transporting Zipper along with him, they kind of switched bodies and everything. So, really hilarious scene. It was kind of very funny to see that. And I love how they finally got Nimno. And I guess in a way, the writers and the creators figured this was the only way Nimno would finally be able to communicate with the Rangers. Because even though he'd recognize them, it'd be the first time he's ever communicated with them. And like, holy crap. Basically, it'd make him think, holy crap, no wonder these rodents have always beaten me, have always foiled my plans. They're intelligent. So it's really cool. And the funniest moments, are towards the end, when the Rangers themselves have to use the helmet to get inside a military base where Zipper might be, where they're possibly going to be doing experiments on Zipper. And the funniest moments come out after that, because what happens is, just like Zipper, they too end up switching bodies. And here's what's funny about it, though, and I give credit to whoever wrote this episode. But basically what happens is, when they switch bodies, Chip's head ends up on Monterey's body, Monty's head ends up on Chip's body, and then you can only guess what happens to Dale and Gadget. And it really cracks me up, because I like how Gadget acknowledges, kind of asks Dale, like, wait a minute, why am I wearing your shirt? And then Dale's like looking at her like, you're wearing more than just my shirt. You know, it's kind of cool. And then I like how Gadget has to use one of those little cups, little water cups, you know, that you could just throw away like that you could just crumble up like that and just throw away. I like how she has to put that over herself as a dress to cover her back, cover her bottom side. And I like how after she does that, Dale's like, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I've always wanted to be close to Gadget, but not this close. In other words, he's saying, look, I've always wanted to have Gadget as my girl, but I don't want to have it like this. And Gadget comes up to him and says, hands off, keep the hands off the body. Like, hey, you may have my body, but keep my hands off it. You know? Or something like that. I mean, it's just hilarious. It's just hilarious. And I also love at the end where, you know, not Chip, but Gadget and Nimnol are trying to repair the helmet, and Gadget's trying to probably offer some help or advice, and Nimnol's like, hey, look, I'm the scientist, you're the mouse, butt out. But then in the end, it's like almost at the last second, okay, and it's like they have to get out of it. Gadget just takes a paper clip, and puts it in there in the place it needs to go, and there you go. I mean, it's real funny, and when they do get restored, I love Dale's interaction there with Gadget. He's like, when she gets her body back and she's happy about it, he's like, Dale's like, yeah, and it looks much better on you. But it's really, really fun. I really liked it, and it was just, again, just like Dirty Rotten Diapers, and just like Dirty Rotten Diapers, a very, very fun episode. You definitely have to check it out. It's worth the while. It's worth sitting there. It's just a great, fun episode. The number 2, Good Times and Bad Times, or Good Times, Bad Times, the debut of possibly one of the most popular, if not the most popular, one-shot Rescue Ranger character in the history of the franchise, Foxglove Bat. Great episode. There's not much more you can say about it. Basically, Dale is a little bit more acceptive of Foxglove's affections. He even goes as far later on in the episode as calling her Foxy. You know, to kind of acknowledge that there might be, that he's finally kind of had an attraction towards her. Kind of, basically, he's returning the attraction and the feelings. So it's a really great development episode. It's really great character development for a one-shot character. So, but it's really fun, and it shows that Dale, basically, unlike Chip, is more acceptive and more willing to possibly give somebody who has a crush on him, who has feelings for him, a chance at a relationship. I really, really like that. I really like that episode. I really like how that's done. But yeah, and you know what? She's, like I said, she proved to not just be, and out of this, like I said, she became not just the most popular one-shot character in the franchise's history, but she, and later on in the 8 issues of that Boom Studios, in the 8 issues that Boom Studio Comics released, her popularity proved to be huge enough, along with Tammy's, that they both made returns in the comic. Foxglove more than Tammy, and we even got a little background on Foxglove in the comics, so that was pretty cool. And then Tammy, we find out what happened with her. She becomes a nurse, just like in the Mice and Mayhem, which is pretty cool. So, but yeah, just great episode, and really introduced a great one-shot character whose popularity really just took off like nobody could ever expect. So definitely, number 2, Good Times, Bad Times. The number one episode, my number 1 favorite episode of all time, 00 Chipmunk. I mean, where do I begin with 00 Chipmunk? I have said this multiple times at the Acorn Cafe, at ChippendaleOnline.com. just everywhere, that this is possibly my favorite episode of all time. That this is indeed my favorite episode of all time. And the reason being is because it's full of a lot of firsts for the Rangers. It is. It's the first time we actually see an intelligent side to Dale. Dale wanted to contribute to the team, really contribute by saying, hey, look, if we could do what my favorite spy hero on television can do, we'd be even better. We'd even be more awesome. We'd be even more than what we are now. And I love seeing that. I love how they made that character development come out of Dale. Like, there's more to him than just the goofiness, the goof-offness, and the silliness, and the comic book reading, and the laziness. I love that. And I love how Gadget is willing to go out of her way to help him live that dream. I like how when she kind of sheds a little tears after seeing all the hard work he put into what he wanted, into his suit, into his spy suit, I like when she kind of sheds those tears. She's like, you know what? If Dale wants to live this dream, if Dale wants to be a secret agent, I'm going to help him. I love that. I love that. I love how she's willing to go out of her way to do that, and even get Monterey and Chip to help out of guilt, I believe, making them realize, look, Dale was just trying to help us. And probably, maybe she knows how he feels. Not probably, but I have a feeling she knows. I've always had this feeling that she knows how Dale's feeling. So she probably went to Chip and Monterey and said, look, I know how Dale feels. I know where he's coming from. So you know what? We're going to help him. We're going to make him live his dream. We're going to play this little game. And I love how even though it was originally intended to be a little game, it turns into a real adventure, and they end up having to take on some real-life spies or bad guys or renegade spies or whatever. And I love how they have to do that and stop them. I love that. I mean, there's not much more I can say about this. I mean, it's such a great episode. It's so good. It's so well done. And I love the interaction when Gadget puts on the disguise. And also, like I said, it's full of firsts. It's full of firsts, and I was going to talk about the interaction, but I'll talk about that in a second. But I love how it's full of firsts because it's the first time we see, like I said, it's the first time we see an intelligent side of Dale. And it's the first time, if you're a fan of Gadget, it's the first time you see her out of her normal coveralls, or normal overalls and goggles. It's the first time you see her as an actual feminine female, with the bracelets, with the necklace, the bracelet, the high heels, the makeup, the red dress, the addition of the wig, and the sexuality she had out of it, or sensuality. It was just so well done. And a lot of people, again, just like with Carpet Snaggers, a lot of people might say that this was, again, Disney's way of hinting at the fact that maybe they wanted to go in the direction of Gadget and Dale if things had gone, even further. Things had gone according to plan, like let's say when it comes to a movie. Or come to the movie, if you know what I mean. But I love how I love how everything was just done so well here. And I love how, and the fact that Dale does show, Chip finally sees, I love how Chip finally sees that Dale is probably making sense. Maybe he does have some ideas. Maybe there is more to my best friend than just the silliness and the goofiness. I love that. Let me check my time here. Okay, I got about a minute and a half to go, but I love that. I love how that interaction comes out. I love it. I mean, I love that, not interaction, but I love that realization on Chip. Like, his best friend probably is more than, probably is more to his best friend than he thinks. And the interaction's great. I mean, I love how Gadget plays her femme fatale role to the heel. It's really, really cool. I love how Dale starts to play along with them when he finds out it's a game, and then he has to finally adjust to the fact that, okay, it's not a game anymore, it's the real life deal. It's time to take care of business. I love that. It's really great. I love how Gadget distracts one of the bad guys with her femme fatale act, and it is just a great episode, very well done. Not much more I can say about it, and that is why Double O Chipmunk is my #1 favorite Rescue Ranger episode of all time, and that is my top 10 favorite Chip and Dale Rescue Ranger episodes of all time. Hope you enjoyed it. Comment down below. Tell me what you think. Peace out. Sorry this was in 2 parts. Hey everybody. There's a video on YouTube here where somebody did a countdown of the top 5 favorite Rescue Ranger episodes, or moments, or whatever. And I'm talking about Chippendale Rescue Rangers, of course. You can probably see that. But I don't think I've ever had a chance and opportunity to kind of talk about what my favorites are. My top, not my top 5, but my top 10 are. And I actually happen to have the list right here of my favorite top 10, because this is a list I put together for my Best of Chippendale Rescue Ranger DVD a few years back. You see, what I did when I created that is I went on the Acorn Cafe website and I asked people, and I think I even went to the Chippendale online website, and I asked people their recommendations, what they felt were the top 10 episodes. And by going by what they judged on what they said, ironically, a lot of them were almost in the same category as mine. Basically, they were about the same. That was kind of funny. That was kind of really ironic that some of them were in the same category. Basically, you know, they enjoyed the same ones that I did. Now this is going to kind of be like going backwards, because you see, the first one I have on here is going to be like number 10, and then the last one is going to be like the number 1. So let me start out now before I run out of time, because you know I don't have the unlimited time limit on my YouTube account. So let's take a look, shall we? Or let me mention them and explain why. Number 10, my number 10 favorite Rescue Ranger episode is, of course, the movie. Basically, the To the Rescue pilot. And the reason it's my number 10 favorite is because it's an introduction into an origin and introduction story as how the Rescue Rangers came about. It kind of shows how they met, how they started out as just, you know, Chippendale wanting to solve the crime on their own and working through these personal problems, basically, you know, like Dale wanting to have fun and all that, to the point that they ended up getting, as their journey continued, as their adventure and the quest to get the ruby back continued, they met up with new friends and soon-to-be teammates like Monterey and Zipper and Gadget, and how they all helped when they met them along the way to solve the crimes and get the ruby back. I mean, they gave, for example, you know, and what I liked about it as well is they gave both of them a reason to want to join alongside Chip and Dale. For example, Monterey wanted, of course, join alongside them to pay back Fat Cat for sinking his house. Gadget, I guess, wanted more to do with her life. Basically, wanted to have more meaning, and I guess basically do what her father felt she should do. Overall, Rescue Rangers To the Rescue, or To the Rescue, at number 10 is definitely one of the best 5-part or multi-part miniseries, pilots, or movies that you're going to see for a show. So, number 10, Rescue Rangers To the Rescue. Number 2, Calories. Number 2, or should I say number 9, actually. Number 9, it's number 2 on this list, but number 9 is Calories Not Included. Calories Not Included, which is kind of a title pun, on Batteries Not Included. Basically, essentially, is the very first episode anybody saw. It's kind of how we got introduced to the team right off the bat. It gave us an idea of what to expect, like, you know, the whole rivalry with Chip and Dale, you know, for Gadget's affections, and how Gadget does kind of have an attraction to both of them when she gets in that flirtatious mood. It's really a really good way to, I guess, as some people would say, a jumping on point, if you will. Because even though you may not know how they met at first, it's kind of a jumping on point, so that when you finally do see the pilot, which is number 10 on the list, you'll at least know who they are and what they're capable of. Now, and I also like the fact that they did use this to also introduce us to one of the more established villains in Norton Nimnall. So it's really cool. It's really a good episode. And like I said, great introduction. If you haven't seen the pilot, just as good, if not a little better introduction to the team as a whole on one of the very first cases, as far as I know. Number 8 on the countdown is Adventures in Squirrel City. Adventures in Squirrel City, which basically established the norm, or established the fact that Rescue Rangers was going to introduce you to new characters. Not just the team itself, but to new characters that potentially could be future teammates. And Tammy here is one of them. And Tammy, I'll tell you this, her debut really made you feel as though she could potentially be a Rescue Ranger. I mean, I love the fact that she wanted to do whatever it took to impress Chip, not just because she had a crush on him and she was heads over heels for him, but due to the fact that she wanted to prove to the rest of the Rescue Rangers that she was ready. I mean, I love that kind of that interaction. I like the fact that, you know, it takes the Rescue Rangers, the rest of the team, to make Chip realize, look, Tammy's doing what she's doing because she likes you. She wants to help out because she likes you. Don't you get it? It's like to me, it's making Chip wake up and realize, oh shit, you know, maybe there is more than just me trying to probably get Gadget. Maybe there is more, maybe there's somebody that wants to be with me. So, and I love the growing up perspective as well with Tammy, how she kind of grows up and realizes that, yeah, she is ready, but maybe she's not totally ready. So, definitely check that out. Again, it established the norm that you could expect new characters to join alongside the Rangers in the fight against crime, if not just for one episode. Number 7 on the countdown is, number 7 is Carpet Snaggers. I thought this was a very unique episode because it was kind of different in a sense that it made you think that magic was being involved, but it was actually science. I thought that was cool. I like the interaction between Gadget and Monterey, and how Monterey is always thinking it's magic and it's superstitious, and Gadget's like, look, there's got to be more to it. I love that. I love the interaction when they show up at one of the areas or one of the homes that's targeted, possibly to be robbed. How Monterey's taking all this magic stuff out of the Ranger plane, and one of them's a magnet, and Gadget's like, she points it out to him, and he says, yeah, and carpets don't fly. And I love how she sticks her tongue out at him. That's kind of cool. I love the interaction. I definitely like the fact that when that very house is getting robbed, that when the carpets are taken off and everything, I love the fact that the team, how they get split up, is unlike Adventures in Squirrel, unlike Cattery's Not Included. When they get split up here, it's Dale and Gadget that get caught in the carpet. I mean, his Gadget, here she is so intrigued as to see, she's seeing all the circuitry suddenly light up in the carpet, right? And Dale, he's running, and he's seeing her stop, and he has to go back and say, we gotta go! And I love that. And I love what it leads to as well. Because at first Dale thinks it's magic and everything, and he falls off one carpet onto another, and Gadget, she's trying to climb down this, I think, this pearl necklace, and the wind blowing, and Dale's trying to say, hey, be careful. And the next thing you know, as soon as he says that, she slips and falls right in his arms. And I love that scene right there, because whether you want to admit it or not, that's kind of what people call a pro-D&G moment. And when I look at it, it always kind of made me think perhaps that's what Disney was hinting at with Dale and Gadget. Maybe they were hinting at the fact that Dale would be the one that ends up with Gadget. Let me check my time here. I'm going to have to split this in 2 parts. Okay, I got about 5 minutes. I think I can try to finish. Or 4.5 minutes. But anyway, I love that. I love that, and I love how they kind of, like I say, they kind of hint at it, maybe tease at the fact that they wanted to go in that direction when they first began. So overall, it was a fun episode, very fun. I love the one part where Gadget's trying to use her makeshift magnet on all the carpets on the mansion, and when suddenly the mansion itself gets basically taken up in the air because the Rangers nailed down all the carpets. They kind of did a compromise. And I love when she uses her magnet, whoosh, you know, her hair just sticks up like it's been gelled or something. It's so cool. Overall, like I said, very fun episode, and definitely worth checking out. What was that? Let's see. 10, 8, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Number 6 on the countdown is Case of the Cola Cold. That's right, Case of the Cola Cold. I believe. Yeah, let's see. 1, 2, 3. Let's see. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah. Number 6 is the Case of the Cola Cold. And this, my friends, is a very, very good episode. It's a very good episode for development. Because it basically it's a gadget episode, basically. It's a gadget episode, and basically it's making Gadget kind of doubt herself because she's wondering if maybe she's losing her touch, and maybe if by losing her touch she's worthy of even being on the team anymore. It even has her temporarily leaving the team, and temporarily leaving them, and then possibly joining up with this cola cult, only to find out later on that most of the other inventions that she did, like the gyromobile and stuff like that, are all falling apart. Like the gyromobile, which was obviously looked okay, had fallen apart due to a rebel, a renegade in the cult named Bubbles. And it was a great story development, great character development for the Case of the Cola Cold. I love how when she finds that out, it kind of helps her regain her confidence and makes her realize, you know what, I am worthy of being part of this team, and you know, I may make mistakes, but I'm not as bad as I think I am. A really great episode for character development, definitely worth checking out. Alright, number 5, Mind Your Cheese and Q's. Very fun episode as well. It basically focuses on the fact that Monterey's obsession with cheese can sometimes put his friends and even himself in danger. I love the fact that the interaction, if you will, with the villain of the episode, which is Rat Capone. And hold on, let me take my time here. Yeah, but I got a minute and a half. But I love the interaction there. I also love the fact that this is the second time we see the Rescue Rangers, if not just for the later part of the episode, have to go in disguise. They have to disguise themselves so nobody recognizes them. And I thought that was, I thought that was really, really cool. You know, just a fun episode. I love how Monterey does at the end control his cravings for cheese and basically helps his friends in the end. It's really, again, a bit of character development there, but it also kind of shows that if you have an obsession, you can conquer it. And again, I love how they kind of had the characters, you know, disguise themselves, because this was the second time this has happened in the series, and the second time that Gadget wore the red dress and the heels and the necklace and the bracelet and the makeup and all that. Only exception was the wig, and I'll get to that later on when I come back with part 2. But number 5, Mind Your Cheese and Q's.